The master who was born as a water buffalo. In southern China, there was an enlightened master who had 1,250 students. It would have been good if all of his students were diligent in their practices and in their daily chores. However, some were lazy and they neither devoted themselves to spiritual practice nor planted merit. The master always thought to himself, "How wonderful it would be if only my students would work as hard as the water buffalo we have here at the monastery." They raised the gray water buffalo to cultivate and till the soil and the rice paddies. Every time the master saw the water buffalo working hard, he thought very fondly of it and photographed the buffalo's image in his mind. Just as an image is impressed on film when you press the camera's shutter button, so the workings of the mind also deeply record both good and bad things. Even though he was advanced in his spiritual practice, the master did not surrender his fondness for the buffalo well. Much later, it was time for the master to pass on to his next life. As the master was sitting in the lotus position, one of his students asked him, "Master, where will you be going?" As master watched himself, the buffalo was ripe in his mind, and he saw that he would receive the buffalo's body. It was a baffling, shocking revelation for him. How could such an accomplished master as myself receive a cow's body? But it was too late. Even at that moment, had he surrendered that ripened mind of the water buffalo to Buddha, he could have liberated himself from it, since his own mind had created the image. But he did not recognize this, and he answered his students without surrendering. "I will receive the body of water buffalo." Thus, he had already made that decision. He did not know until then that he had photographed the water buffalo in his mind. Now that he had realized it, he could have surrendered that hardened impression. But an instant that you confirm is hard to revoke. Furthermore, spewing out the decision that is made within your mind is like declaring it to yourself and to the universe. Such an act is the reconfirmation and acceptance of the result. Beings act like their previous incarnations for the first 30 years of their new lives. Although he was born as a water buffalo, when he saw his students, he often chased after them to teach them, because they were neither diligent in their practice nor in doing their work. Unfortunately, all that came out of his mouth was "moo." The students, not realizing that it was their teacher, thought the buffalo was trying to hurt them, so they tied it to a pole. How frustrated and outraged he must have been. One moonlit night, he tied to a pole as a water buffalo, he was lamenting his miserable lot when Shakyamuni Buddha appeared with the bodhisattvas. Coming upon the master tethered there, the Buddha helped the master shed buffalo's body. Just as where the sun shines brighter, the shadow is darker, so too, the more you generate the casual mind, such as buffalo's mind, in a radiant monastery, the more quickly you prepare your future body for a lower realm of birth. When I was studying under Master Beck, our monastery was a radiant place. When I generated a casual mind as Sosa, my body would become unusually heavy and uncontrollable, and I would just be dragging it around. My mind was not bright. After being scolded by my teacher for being absent-minded, I would intensely surrender such a casual mind. Sometimes surrendering it diligently for an hour was enough to free me from that future birth in a lower realm. After surrendering such a cause, my mind was refreshed, full of reverence, and my body felt light. If you don't surrender the animal body you are supposed to receive in the future, you will become like that master in China. You imprint both extremely good and extremely bad things on your mind. If, however, there is no cause in your mind to perceive something as good or bad, your mind will be in a state of non-discrimination. Therefore, you will not be strongly drawn to animals, and you will not generate the casual mind for an animal rebirth. Thus, you should surrender every arising thought, good or bad.